Are Iran's deadly missiles and drones continuing to rain fury across the Gulf region, even as a ceasefire is officially in place? Iran has now carried out what it calls the 100th wave of Operation True Promise, targeting allies of Donald Trump across the Arab world. Relentless and uncompromising, Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards claim that at least 25 US and Israeli-linked targets were struck. Will Trump's proposed two-week ceasefire hold under pressure, as Iran warns that its forces remain ready, declaring our fingers are on the trigger? Iran continues its military posture despite a ceasefire declared with the United States, signaling that hostilities have not fully subsided. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps released details of what it described as the 100th wave of strikes under Operation True Promise 4. Iran stated that this operation, titled Yer Fatima Ulzara, was conducted as a tribute to the late Ayatollah Khamenei. According to IRGC statements, approximately 25 key targets linked to the United States and Israel in the Gulf region were struck overnight between April 7th and 8th. Ballistic and cruise missiles, along with loitering munitions and attack drones, were reportedly used to carry out the strikes. Iranian strikes in the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait followed shortly after its own oil infrastructure on Lavin Island was reportedly targeted. Iran identified several energy installations across the region as part of its operational targeting framework. Facilities in Saudi Arabia, including Ras Al Juwaima, Jubail petrochemical complexes, Satorp refinery, and Manifa plant, were listed among targets. Additional locations such as Yanbu facilities, as well as multiple strategic energy assets in the United Arab Emirates, were also referenced. These included the Habshan Fujairah pipeline, Das Island refinery, Fujairah storage hub, and Zirku Island production center. Key sites in Qatar and Bahrain, including Ras Laffan, Dolphin Energy, and Bapco refinery, were also mentioned in the list. Kuwait's Al Amadi refinery was similarly identified as a strategic energy installation within the scope of the operation. Iran also stated that command and control centers linked to US and Israeli operations were targeted during the strikes. Locations such as Beersheba technology zones and intelligence-related facilities in Tel Aviv were included in the reported targets. Ben Gurion Airport and the Haifa refinery were also referenced as logistical and energy-related infrastructure. The governmental district in Jerusalem, associated with military coordination, was mentioned in the context of command centers. Additionally, IRGC sources claimed that facilities linked to US Central Command in Jordan were affected during the strikes. The 100th wave of operations also extended toward maritime zones and energy corridors, including areas near the Strait of Hormuz. The IRGC Navy further claimed that it had engaged American naval vessels at sea as well as regional bases linked to US forces. Reports suggest that the USS Tripoli, LHA-7, was allegedly struck by cruise missiles, with claims of a fire breaking out on deck before it moved toward the Indian Ocean. The USS John C. Stennis, CVN-74, is also reported to have been targeted by multiple drones, sustaining damage to its hull before withdrawing towards safer waters. An Israeli-linked drone manufacturing facility in the United Arab Emirates was reportedly targeted and described as having been neutralized. The Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait was also identified as a target, with claims that it serves as a key operational hub for US forces in the region. Meanwhile, Iran's elite military forces have issued a renewed warning directed at the United States and Israel, despite the ceasefire currently in place. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps stated that its forces remain on high alert, warning that fingers are on the trigger if ceasefire terms are violated. Iran also reiterated that it does not place confidence in assurances made by US President Donald Trump, according to Wana News. The statement read, and I quote, "The defenders of the Iranian nation now await the commands of the Supreme Commander, Ayatollah Sayyid Mojtaba Khamenei. Our fingers are on the trigger, having endured 2 imposed wars against a joint American Zionist front. We are prepared to create an even greater epic should the enemy commit another miscalculation. And victory comes only from Allah." End quote. Hostilities across the Middle East appeared to continue in different sectors, despite the public statement suggesting a move toward de-escalation. The US and Iran did not immediately specify a precise time at which the truce was supposed to take effect, leaving military and regional actors without a shared reference point. This lack of clarity created a dangerous gap between political messaging and the real-time dynamics on the ground, where forces were still engaged in combat operations. Even amid talks of de-escalation, Iran reportedly continued launching strikes across multiple fronts, including missile and drone activity targeting Gulf states. Countries impacted by these ongoing attacks included Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain, each reporting varying levels of alerts or direct strikes. In Bahrain, authorities said defense teams extinguished a fire at a facility after what they described as an Iranian attack, though the exact extent of the damage remained unclear. Meanwhile, Qatar reported incidents in which debris from intercepted missiles landed in populated or industrial areas, injuring 4 people and raising concerns about secondary effects. In Kuwait and the UAE, additional attacks and emergency alerts were reported, pointing to a still widespread and quickly escalating conflict rather than a clean, immediate pause. Saudi Arabia said its air defense systems intercepted 5 ballistic missiles, underscoring the scale and intensity of the incoming threats directed at its territory. In the UAE, authorities responded to a fire at the Habshan gas field, but the official cause of the blaze was not immediately confirmed, leaving room for speculation about direct targeting versus collateral damage.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.